So today's topic, the truth about truth. It sounds sort of obnoxious, doesn't it? It's like, oh, this guy's coming to give us the truth about truth. Well, I am. Please. Now, why, you know, I'm a little obsessed with this word. I mean, it's, here's the problem, okay? We got to set up the problem, okay? As we say in scholarship, problematize, right? Okay? The word truth has two conflicting meanings in usage, the way we use the word, okay? So, in certain contexts, the word truth is something that is to mean, I want to know exactly the way something is. I want to know exactly the way it is. I want total accuracy, total honesty, and I want to know exactly the way something is. Okay, so this is one way we use it. To carry that definition a little further, it's not exactly a definition, but it's a way we use the word. I got a pamphlet on my door that asks me a question, and the title of the pamphlet says, "Do you want to know the truth?" Of course, the first thought is, you've come to the right door. Too bad I didn't have you here in person. Yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses, when they come to my door, they never see someone so delighted to see them, that they actually think of not coming in, which is unusual for them. Same thing for my adorable little, the boys that ride around on the bikes. What's that?
Latter-day Saints.
Latter-day Saints, yeah. The Mormons. My little Mormon boys, they come by on their bikes, and I tell them, it's sort of a knee-jerk reaction. I said, I have a bike, can I ride with you? They don't like that idea. They want to talk, okay? So they come in, and of course, we go into hours of discussion, and it's marvelous. I asked them about their tours. I said, so you meet up with a lot of antipathy, don't you? I mean, right? People don't want to hear what you have to say. But some people want to hear what you have to say, right? And we talk about the varieties of people. It gets into a psychological discussion virtually. And I asked them how they feel about these different encounters and so on. But this pamphlet that I got, okay, there was no human accompanying this pamphlet, but I am pretty sure a human put it there. I'm fairly sure. I mean, it can't be completely. I can't say for absolute assuredness, but assuming that one did, they're handing out a pamphlet saying, "Do you want to know the truth?" And I love that particle word, "the." It gives a little more oomph to truth. The truth. Basically, the implication is that there is one truth out there which you either are a part of or you're not. Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want to know it? And the assumption is that I don't know it. That's why the pamphlet's on my door, right? So in this context, you can take it a little further. The truth, it's something that is a knowledge of what is, fully, a sense of knowing what reality is, but it's an exclusive knowledge. It belongs only to a particular person or to a particular tradition and so on. So there's suddenly a kind of ownership of this truth. Someone owns it, and you can own it too if, and there are conditions. Okay. So that's the other extended form of my first usage. Then, you know, there's, and we could carry this sort of in another direction, and again, the same category. Science talks about truth. You know, an outcome of truth, something that can be duplicatable, something that can be observable, something that can be repeatable, duplicable, okay? Empirically duplicatable, right? And that's good. That's fun. Right? Where's my chemistry, man? Oh, right here. Right. Yeah, chemistry. So we do that in the hard sciences, right? I mean, you never get away with just doing it once, right? You gotta be able to do it many times in order to, right?
You name it 3.
Okay, very good. Okay. So then there's sort of another context. The context is the legal system. Okay, now I'm going to be really honest with all of you. I recently got a speeding ticket. Okay. And this officer was the nicest fellow. I said, look, I understand this is your job, so, but you know, I give lectures at the university. Would you like to come and we could like forget the ticket? He smiled and looked like he was actually considering it. You know? And I said, I promise it'll be one of my more interesting lectures, not one of my boring ones. I promise, you know? He said, sir, I'm afraid I'm just gonna, I said, wait, I have a book I wrote in the back seat. A book for no ticket. And he smiled again and he said, you sound like you're a pretty interesting guy, but, which was a euphemism. He thought I perhaps belonged in a hospital somewhere. Because I don't think too many people try to bribe an officer when you are essentially under arrest. I mean, I was under arrest. He put the lights on, you know, please move over to the side. And, you know, I mean, I knew to do that. I don't know why. You know, I've been around for a while. So, you know, anyway, I did end up being the happy recipient of a speeding ticket. Going 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. Now, I'm ashamed to tell all of you this, but I'm telling you all this because I'm anticipating, eagerly anticipating a court date. I'm so excited. I am going to court. And you know what's going to happen in court? They're going to have me come up to the judge. Have you ever seen one of these people? They are medieval. They're not only medieval, they even look evil. They're in this black robe and they take themselves very seriously. They get up there, you know, and the bailiff says, all rise, and I didn't even intend to stand up, but you know, you're sort of lifted up. I know all of you are very innocent and law-abiding citizens, so you've never experienced this. But if you ever do, this is what's to come. So, you know, all rise, and you know, you watch this powerful deva of some kind walk into and up a platform behind this throne of a desk. And he or she sits, and then we all be seated. It's scary, but I love it. Obviously, you can tell I've been there before. For other speeding tickets. But that's why I know to look forward to this, because what they're going to ask me to do is raise my right hand, and they're going to say, and this is unbelievable, and I know you've never heard this before. They asked me, do you promise to tell the truth? But that's not it. That's not all they want. They want the whole truth, but that's not all. Nothing but the truth. And then the bottom line comes. So help you God. know me that well, but when I hear that last line, I go, whoa. I am so, I feel the power, right? And I'm looking, and then I look over at the judge. Yes. I am compelled to assert the affirmative. Yes. Now, let's examine what I just promised to do, okay? In a court of law, you are either set up to perjure yourself. They're either setting you up to be a total and absolute liar, because who can tell the whole truth? Nothing but the truth. It's like, I'm scared to say anything. Even when they say, what is, state your name? Like, is it Garuda? Is it Graham? Is it Graham Schweig? Is it Graham M. Schweig? Is it Doctor? Is it... I mean, I get frozen, right? So I love this experience of terror and dread. Okay, so what they're asking for here is really not the whole truth, nothing but the truth. What they're asking for, I mean, I could save them a lot of trouble if they simply said, do you promise to just tell us what you saw? Just tell us what you know. That's really what they're asking, but they don't know how to say that. And they want to scare you into simply, just tell us what you know. And don't lie. That's basically what they're asking. But they don't know how to ask that. So truth is a word here that means something perspectival. You're not speaking as if you were a God who could know the whole reality of things, the whole truth. See, in my first definition, those people, like, you know, the Mormons or any tradition where there's a little bit of a fundamentalist tinge, they think they have the truth and they want to give you that truth. They want to deliver that truth from God. In court, they want you to be a God, but you can't be one. And then they threaten God on you for not being a God. Okay? They're sending mixed messages. Okay? So truth here is really perspectival. And it's sincere. And it's something you truly do believe that happened. So, you know, for example, if we have an incident here tonight, and I see Tessa, right? I see Tessa, like, hit a beer. And he falls over and dies. Apparently your hit is pretty powerful. So to me, I go to court and I say, she did it. Okay, now, to me, I'm saying what I know, what I saw. But actually, what happened is that Amita-char back there sent a little dart. And that killed a beer. And when you were in court, brought into court, you said, no, Tessa did not. But someone behind me did. And I don't know who. But I suspect it's Amita-char. Because you know he has a record. Or whatever. Okay, so the point is this. Was I perjuring myself in court? It appeared to me that Tessa killed a beer. It really did. But I didn't see what you saw. Right? And so you see, they didn't throw me in jail for lying or perjuring myself in court, right? They saw that I told the truth the best I could from my perspective. And it really appeared that Tessa killed a beer. But we now know for sure that AC killed a beer. Okay? And there are other witnesses and so on. So you see, truth then is perspectival. And really, the nature of truth actually is perspectival, even in the first instance. You know, I once got an advertisement in the mail a long time ago from the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, they are unquestionably the best, you know, intellectual encyclopedia, a comprehensive encyclopedia around. They said, you know, if you don't have the Encyclopedia Britannica, you really need it because it's the best around. And I couldn't disagree with that, okay? The advertisement further went on and said, if you already have the Encyclopedia Britannica, then you should get the latest one because what was once considered true may no longer be true. Now, I love that statement. What was once considered truth is no longer necessarily truth. Isn't that amazing?
That's my entire field.
That's your entire field. Come up here and finish the talk. Because, I mean, it's amazing. The mutability. Yeah.
Immunology, just.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's her field. We should all go to her lab right now. Do a field trip. Okay? So the idea is truth, even etymologically. The word true is an adjective in English that has no noun. You can't say the true. You can say something is true, but it doesn't really have a corresponding noun. Truth is a noun, but truth, really, when you add the th on it, okay, the th, what you're doing to the word true is you're saying that which is grasped as true. Notice the perspectival aspect of this. The word, now Sanskrit is more precise in this regard. The word sat in Sanskrit, I don't want to get technical here, basically it means reality. Reality, the way things are. It's a participial form of the verb to be in Sanskrit. So it means basically, the best way to translate it in English is a little awkward. Ising. Okay, the word is when something is ising. For example, Maya Priya is ising right now. I mean, look. You see an ising right now in front of you. Okay, so there is ising. So yeah.
Ising.
Yeah, yeah. So it's, that means reality. Sat means reality. It's a beautiful word for reality. And sattva means truth. The twa at the end is an abstract suffix. Oh, good. This is good for you. You said, yeah, right. Okay, so the twa is an abstract ending. Also in Sanskrit is the ta. Ta is a Sanskrit of suffix, abstract suffix. But in this case, it's the twa that's being used. So it's sat twa. So it means isingness, or the ability to be ising, or the perception of ising. So sattva, or truth, is what goes on in court with a beer. With me, I told the truth. It just didn't happen to be reality. But even what I perceived was reality, part of reality, even though I didn't see how a beer died. You see? So all of it is part of the reality. My truth, Amita Char's truth, your truth, and your truth were all part of reality. All of it is true. Reality contains everything. This, the ancient sages of India knew. Sat. Sat is the grasping, Sat is the participation of everything in reality. The participation of everything. Sat. Sattva is the grasping of that which is true. Now, let's get back to the people who left the pamphlet on my doorstep. those people don't know this. They don't know this. But in court, they kind of do know this, but they make like they don't. Because they frighten you into trying to be a god when you can't be, right? But they actually know what they're doing. It's all fright tactics. You know, you better be a god. Or so help you God. Or, you know, we want that kind of truth in here. And nothing less. And then of course, if you know anything about the law, they actually don't care about any of it. It's just a question about paperwork. It's just whether their paper matches the other lawyer's paper and whether that works out. And whose lawyer plays golf with the judge. Unfortunately, some of that goes on too. But, you know, that's part of reality, isn't it? That's also part of reality. Cheating is part of reality. That goes on too. And the mutability of truth and the flux of truth in disciplines is part of reality too. Thomas Kuhn's, you know, right, that well-known book, right, the structure of scientific revolutions, something like that, right? Shifts in paradigms, scientific paradigms, right? So things, truth. So thus my title, my obnoxious title for today's talk, the truth about truth. So here's, you know, Garuda coming along, who thinks he has the truth about truth. But I damn well do. See, there's another guy who thinks he knows everything. He's got the truth. And even not just the truth, but the truth about the truth. So that's like triply obnoxious. But think about it. Truth. Now, when we talk about truth in relation to yoga and truth in relation to bhakti, this is very powerful because suddenly truth is something that every single person already participates in. I mean, you can invite, you know, you can throw pamphlets on a doorstep, and that's fine. But what they don't know, and the assumption with which they're working, is that I don't participate in reality, but they do. It's awkward. That means I'm not real. It's very awkward not to be real. I don't like it. I like being real. But they don't think I am. So it's a problem. And when you get real people thinking that you're not real, it's an upsetting conversation. Have you ever had one of those? Okay, if you haven't, during the feast here, I'll be one of those for you, okay? So you can have that experience. But really, truth is something that participates in reality, no doubt. But it's, so in that sense, it's absolute, it's the truth. But it's always perspectival. Even when we're talking about intellectual disciplines, because there are various kinds of scientific truths. Biological truth is different than physics, the truth of physics. Even truths within the hard sciences are different in nature. What to speak of truth in the social sciences, what to speak of the truth in the human sciences. When I look at a beautiful, you know, when I grew up in Washington, D.C., and my family always went to the National Gallery of Art. And I never saw someone in the Impressionist portion of the gallery come stomping over to someone in the Baroque portion of the gallery, gazing lovingly at a Rembrandt self-portrait, and say, "This is not art. Come over to Monet." I have never witnessed this. And I've been in that museum a lot. And I promise you, this does not go on. But somehow in religion and in spirituality, it goes on. I mean, look, if I happen to be sitting with you, someone here later this evening, and I declare my love for Lady Gaga's music, which you will not hear from me, by the way. But if I declare that, and you can't say, Garuda, you don't love Lady Gaga's music. You can't say that. The fact is, if it moves me and I start, kind of, like it starts like really moving me, you can't say that it doesn't make me feel something. Music, art, architecture, all the arts, plastic and performing and pictorial arts, visual arts, they have a truth also. And you can't tell someone that they don't feel something when they do. If you like Andy Warhol's, Campbell's soup can, dig it, I mean, that's cool. But that doesn't mean it's your truth. It's not your art. This doesn't make everything like voluntaristic everything into some kind of what's the word? Not syllogism. Solipsistic. Thank you. Solipsistic reality. All of this participates in reality, but reality contains unlimited truths. Truth is not one, ladies and gentlemen. That's my obnoxious message for this evening. Truth is not one. Truth is something that participates in reality and something that we can share with one another as humans. It's the reason why we should converse with one another. It's interesting because bhakti, the word bhakti, means the process of sharing. What is it that we share? We share what we understand as our truth. What we love so much in, Jay-Z. Is that a performer? Oh, I knew that. I'm just testing all of you. I'm not like up on things all the time. Okay? Or if it's the red chilies, right? They're a group, right? They're not a group, right? They are a group, right?
Almost.
Yeah.
What do you mean almost? They didn't do anything?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
See, I'm testing you again. The Red Hot Chili Peppers. See, when I speak outside my field, I fall apart. I really need to stay. Okay, so let's get back to bhakti. So when we talk about bhakti, the word comes from a Sanskrit verb root, which means to share. Bhakti is about not just sharing knowledge for knowledge's sake, and of course, in a way, that can be a lot of what we do in the university. That's fine. But in bhakti, it's knowledge that we love. It's knowledge that has an ultimate sense to it. It's knowledge of a special kind. Premanjana chodita bhakti balochanena santasa daiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Write that down. Well, okay, then memorize. Just remember it. Okay, so premanjana chodita bhakti balochanena. This is a knowledge of prema. This is a knowledge of a special kind. It's a knowledge that is infused with affection, love. It's that ultimate knowledge, that those things that we know that we love. It's a knowledge of truth. Truth ultimately really does involve the heart. Otherwise it just sits there. And it might as well just be textbook knowledge. But this is a knowledge that we love in a kind of ultimate sense. That is bhakti. Premanjana chodita bhakti balochanena. So the idea here in this verse from the Brahma Samhita, it's saying that with the eye of love, the prema netra in some sense, one can know things that one could not otherwise know. There's a special knowing from the heart that goes beyond the intellect. This is what bhakti philosophers have said. The special knowing. So, you know, you can, these websites, you can, Match.com. Right? That is a website?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, right. Also, there's another one, hilarious.com. No, harmonious? No, eHarmony. Testing again. You're passing the test tonight. Very nice. So, okay, whatever harmony, whatever matching, and so on. Anyway, you know, you can list facts about a person. You know, brown hair, you know, blue eyes, European, Asian, yellow, pink, green, black, brown, pale, yellow, beige, whatever. You know, these could be data about a person, one's age, these things. But ultimately, these things are not important. These are not important things. This is just regular knowledge. This is observable, empirical, recordable knowledge. But when you begin to have an affection for someone, you learn more about them. That's not exactly tangible, but you know them in deeper ways than you did when you went on to, matchless.com or whatever. Matchful. What is it? Match. I said that, I think. Right. Anyway, whatever these sites, doesn't matter. See, that's my point. Bypass these sites. Get to know people who you know. Share with them. Now, obviously, there's a place of reciprocation. There's a time for a balanced knowing of one another. Not like just suddenly, you pour so much information about your truth on someone and they're kind of like, okay. And then you say, well, what's your, what do you love most? What's your love? And and they say, I'm not telling. That's out of whack. That's imbalanced. It's gotta be reciprocal. It's gotta be balanced. We all seek balance, whether we know it or not, in all relationships. So, Bhakti is that process of knowing the depths of the heart, the most true feelings that reside there, and developing those feelings. Just like in art, the way you appreciate fine art is cultivated, and is something that is matured, and something that's deepened. In Bhakti, it is refining and deepening the affections within the heart at the deepest levels for life. It's just that simple. For life. The miracle of now. The miracle that the miracle that there are so many truths and they're all kind of coming together. It's complex. I mean, like right here, this is like extremely complex, all of you. You're all coming here with your truths. And in the line of vision, you're all inflicting them on me in subtle ways. Not really, but the point is that we have an opportunity to get to know one another, to find out what makes someone tick, not merely just intellectually, but what does one truly love. I like this passage from Augustine, Saint Augustine, the first biographer in the world, really. Autobiographer, I should say. And he wrote the famous work Confessions, and it really is so much about himself. He's looking at himself, and he's sharing this with whomever reads. And there was a beautiful passage in there. I happen to know the Confessions because one of the languages I had to learn at the UVA of the North was Latin. It was a horrible experience. I get upset just thinking about it. But when I was learning Latin, Simply the Sanskrit only has 5 cases and 2 numbers. Not many. Sanskrit's hard. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, but you know, I read Confessions in Latin, portions of it and so on, and I came across an absolutely beautiful a question that he asks of himself that is a beautiful model for what should be going on in bhakti. He asks himself, what do I love when I love my God? What do I love when I love my God? And then he proceeds to respond to them. So, you know, what do you love, you know, in the ultimate sense? You know, what is your truth? Tell me what is ultimately valuable to you. What is in your heart? That's an interesting discussion, at least to my mind. That's interesting. You know, it might even begin, so what's your story? You know, what are you all about? Where did you come from and where are you going? You know, you seem pretty interesting and weird to me. I want to know, like, what you're about. I mean, you're like totally other than me. So I want to know this other thing. Let's just add to sat, reality, okay? There's a word, tat, in Sanskrit. It's a demonstrative pronoun. It means that. That. It's juxtaposed to sat. This is in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, there's another word you need to. It's not actually a word, it's a sound. The pranava, omkar. Om tat sat. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been studying this stuff for decades. Longer than you've been in that body. Before you were a speck, you were in another body, probably crawling on 4s all your life, not just in the beginning. I don't want to say anything, you know, like, I would never suggest that a beer was a cow. I would never say that in public. Because obviously it's a little humiliating. Anyway, the point is, so the point is that I've been doing this for decades, and right in front of me, in the Bhagavad Gita, this whole time, are these simple utterances, Om Tat Sat. Tat means, without going into much detail because we need to wind up and I want to take questions, but Tat means that in the sense of tattva. There it is again, the abstract suffix. Thatness. Otherness. There's myself, and then everything, the miracle of everything around me. That's a wow. Yeah, Mitichar, you can spell it backwards and it's still the same word. Thank you for that earlier. He was giving me a lesson in something, I don't know what it was. Anyway, but it's the wows of life that infuse bhakti with the energy to grow more and more into the feeling apparatus with which we have been endowed. That's what it's about. It's like art, but it goes even deeper. Art, you know, everyone knows art. Art has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It always has a frame. Even the performing arts have a frame of the stage. Even sculpture has a frame of air or space and a platform. Music has silence as a frame, beginning and an end, and so on. Everything has a frame. It has limits. It has a frame. But reality doesn't have a frame. Doesn't have a frame. That's one difference between art and spirituality. In effect, we're all in the same picture. This gets kind of weird now. Okay? We're all players on the stage. We might want to find out what the other people's roles are. So you can know yours a little bit better. But it's about sharing. how are we going to be on this stage together? Because it isn't for a long time in this, in this costume. I put this costume on, 98 years, I'm 98. I'm just well preserved. At least I thought so. Formaldehyde. Okay, my chemists here don't approve. Anyway, the point is that it does me good. In 98, I'm pretty well preserved. So the point is that I've been doing this for decades. Here, Om Tat Sat, in the simplest of words, right there in the Gita, repeated several times in a few chapters. Om Tat Sat. It's about, the Omkar is a bija mantra which has to do with pranidhana, an important word in the Yoga Sutra. Pranidhana, Ishvara pranidhana. It means moving deeply within the very core of one's being, and the represents that. One goes from the outer to the inner to the innermost. Those three letters represent that. And the Omkar. So one goes from one's outer being to the innermost core of one's being, in which one can expect to find the presence of all reality. That's yoga. That's what we do in yoga. That's the true meditation in yoga. And once you find that place, you realize that there's something very beautiful to relate to. And that's permanent. It goes beyond the costume. It goes beyond the stage, the present temporary stage. And whatever stage you happen to be on in the future, whatever costume you happen to take up in the future, you can take that with you. But that's the only thing you can take with you. You can't take anything else. Except I can take my harmonium. It's one thing I've admit. My Priya, please. I can't take this? You're going to make me cry right here in front of all these people? I want my harmonium. Okay, I'll deal with her later. I think she might be right. I can't even take this, but I can take what I do with this. How about that? That you'll agree too. I can take what I do with this to celebrate the world of the heart. It's ultimately what we all want to do, but we don't have the equipment to do it. So what Bhakti Yoga is the equipment to go to do the pranidhana yoga, to move deeply within the core of one's being, in which one can expect to find Ishvara, that is to say, the ultimate center of existence that governs all of existence. An amazing experience. And it's an experience of love. It's not an experience of astronomy. It's not astronomy. I don't even like the word astronomy. I don't like it. Okay? It's about the heart. Hridaya Vidya. Hridaya Vidya. The knowledge or truth within the heart. Hridaya. It's beautiful. We come into this world as human beings. We're called human beings, but what do we do when we be? Or when we're ising? In our ising, we have three essential constituent characteristics. We are acting, thinking, and feeling isings, beings. But when we come into this world, we come in feeling. We don't think very well, at least I didn't. It took me at least 20 or 40 years to do so. I was a little slow. But thinking comes later as you grow and develop. And acting, have you ever seen a little miniature baby? Miniature human? They're useless. Oh, they're cute, but they're useless. They just, they don't talk. They don't know how to use their limbs. And they just kind of, they're all mouth. They don't even see well at that point, right? They don't develop, their vision's not even fully developed. And their brains are not fully developed. In fact, I hate to say it, but many of you don't have fully developed brains. you're missing your prefrontal cortex. That doesn't come in until 28. How many people are lacking a prefrontal cortex in here? Please raise your hand. Okay, thank you for being honest. Please put it down, Mr. President. Okay, the point is, it takes time to develop fully in the human body, in the acting, the functioning of a human body. But the feeling is what we come in with. And by the way, feeling is what you go out with. You don't think, no one's, I'm not going to be lying on my deathbed, okay, Micah, when you're there? Okay, don't talk to me about philosophy, okay? Ask me how I feel. No, don't even ask me that. How are you feeling? I'm dying. Micah, can't you see that? I'm dying. You know, Amita Char, where are you? You know, would you tell her? You know, that kind of thing. Okay? So, but feeling is what we go out with. We come into the world feeling, and we go out of the world feeling. And we had better learn how to do that. That really, in such a way that it really is us, and not distracted by other forces, but a way of feeling that is truly us. A kind of onto-existential feeling, so fundamental that it's matured and it's developed. So bhakti is that practice that develops the feeling dimension of human existence in the ultimate sense, to where we can attain a yoga or a joining of reality that reveals to us the truth about truth.